Here is the therapist position and focus for the lasagna pan technique. All right, in this first technique for our neck pain series, the lasagna pan technique is a foundational element of everything that we're going to be doing going forward. The ability to help your clients or your students down-regulate their nervous system is the start point for this. We would compare this to being able to, if we were going to build a house, we want to make sure that the land is ready before we pour the foundation. And the lasagna pan technique is that prep work that we're going to do from here. The other thing that I always want you to keep in mind is that what makes relief through rolling so different is that we want to make sure our clients are always comfortable and they're never straining or struggling with any of our techniques. So if you know having your client get onto the floor to do the floor version is just going to make them stressed, or it's going to be too much on their body, either getting onto the floor or trying to get up off of the floor, which is the thing that most people are actually afraid of, we want you to just go ahead and cut straight to the wall or the chair variation with them. And so don't even try to pressure them, just do the technique that you know that's going to be best for them in the moment. And then as they continue to improve with these techniques, we can always go to the floor later when they can manage that comfortably. So what we're going to have Jenna do now is go ahead and just comfortably lower herself onto the floor, and we're going to have her go down on all hands and knees first. From there, she's just going to gently place her hips and her pelvis onto the roller, and then however she wants to get down onto the roller from here. Some people lean a little bit more one side, some people can just go straight down. However they want to get there is okay. So now that we have her on the roller, we want to make sure that her head and her pelvis are all the way on the roller. What happens for some of our patients is that they actually will scooch up a little too far that way. And so the back of the head is hanging off of the roller, or if they were to scooch too far down, they actually have their pelvis hanging off the bottom half of the roller, and again, it's not supported. And when they're not feeling supported, it's going to cause them to strain and stress within their structure. So we're going to make sure that she's just comfortably right in the roller. And even our tall guys, we've worked with medical teams from all over the country, and we have 7-foot guys that actually can fit on this length of roller, so they can fit all the way. So once we have our clients on the roller, the next big thing that we need to pay attention to is making sure that the shoulder girdle is comfortable here. Because if the shoulders are stressed and strained in this position, it's going to put a tremendous amount of pressure on the neck. And if we're trying to get the neck to soften, if she's straining anywhere else, that's not going to work. So how we would adjust this position for her if she's feeling that stress or tension anywhere through the shoulders, and we can even see that here where there's some creasing through the shirt through here. And so we can kind of smooth and straighten that out, but for some people, being in this position really immediately rotates that shoulder and it's stressful. So all she's going to do from here is she's going to lace her fingers together, and then she's just going to relax them on her abdomen, and then she's going to soften her shoulder. And you can see that helps, you know, even if we try to wrinkle that up a little bit up there, it's less of a crease than what it was when she puts her arms back down. You can see that medial rotation that goes into that shoulder. So that would be the correction for that. Now, as long as they can be there comfortably, even if it's a little bit of a stretch, that's okay. So we're going to go ahead and have Jenna place her hands down by her sides. Now the next piece to this is that what's happening with their legs. For a lot of people, that they'll actually pinch the knees together, or they put the feet and the knees together. And what that does is that does a couple of things. The first thing that it does is as she's holding those legs together, it's putting extra stress and tension into the whole unit. Now we have to keep in mind, from an embryological perspective, everything is completely connected. The body is not individual Legos and individual parts. Yes, they have their connection points, but they all just link and fold together. So if she's straining in the hips, it means she's also straining in the neck. The other thing that happens is that the more she's physically contracting, the more tension it puts in the whole structure. And the other piece to that is that the more narrow her feet are, she actually has less of a base of stability, so she actually becomes more unstable on the roller. So as she lets her legs relax and widens her feet just a little bit, that gives her a bigger base and a bigger surface area, which will actually really soften and relax this whole trunk, especially up into the neck and the cervical spine. So that's going to be an important element. So keep checking in with your patient, because as they do some of these moves, maybe they look good in the beginning, but as they are working with it, they kind of start contracting. So you just have to keep observing and helping them learn that process in the beginning. So from here, now we're going to go into the actual technique. And the reason that it's called the lasagna pan technique is because we're going to pretend that her trunk is actually a pan of lasagna. We actually have some water and some noodles in there. And what we want to start doing is that we want to start just gently rocking that pan back and forth. But what we don't want to have happen is I don't want to rock it so much that the noodles in the water actually spill out, or I roll so much that I then try to catch it the other way and then I dip the other pan down, and so now we have everything contracting because it's trying to catch those noodles. So what a lot of patients do initially with their lasagna pan is as they start to rock over to one side, they go over too far and they feel like they're going to fall off the roller, and then they engage with their trunk and their hips and their neck, and that actually puts tension into the structure, which is the opposite of what we're trying to do. So the amount of motion that we're going to have them do is very small, and we want to keep in mind that just because it's a small amount of motion, it doesn't mean it's having a huge impact. The truth is it's having a tremendous improvement on getting that nervous system to downregulate because it's that gentle rocking motion. You think about rocking in a rocking chair, just that nice gentle rocking, or if you rock too much forwards and backwards, you're going to feel like you're going to fall out of the chair. Going to be the same thing here. So we have Jenna in our neutral position. From here, what she's going to do is nice and easy. She's just going to rock an inch or two over to her left side. And then as she gets to that position, she's going to come back to the center. She's going to pause for just a split second before she goes over to the other side. What can happen is that even if she only goes a little bit, the nervous system sometimes still gets nervous and it starts to hold. So now she's already under tension before she goes to the other side, and that's kind of counterproductive to what we're doing. It's not it's a lot of counterproductive. So we're going to have her do that slight pause in the middle before she goes over to the other side. Now, the other very important part to the relief through rolling system is that we're helping improve the brain mapping. So the part of the brain, the somatosensory cortex, that records what parts of the body go to which part of the brain, what happens when a patient is having chronic pain or they're having consistent movement issues is that becomes blurry. They start to lose track of what parts are what. It kind of muddies the picture together. So if you were looking in the ocean and you had a nice clear Caribbean water, you can see to the bottom, or if you're in the Mississippi where you can't see 2 inches down, we want to be able to see what's in that water. So when Jenna does that slight pause in the middle, it helps differentiate the left side and what the left side is doing back to center. She gets a pause, and then it differentiates between the right side. And the more we can help our clients increase their awareness and increase that brain mapping, the more control, the coordination, the flexibility, all of these things improve because the brain mapping becomes more clear. And that's a very important part of this process. So after she works this 45 to 60 seconds, some of our clients report they even like to do this for a minute or two while they're watching a little bit of TV in the evenings. Really, once we get to that 60-second to 2-minute mark, we've accomplished the time that we need to get that nervous system to start calming down. And then she would just come right back to neutral, and she would just take a breath in, and as she exhales, she just lets everything melt and soften. And that softening piece really is the big part of what we're trying to accomplish with our lasagna pan technique.